Hello, tonight our lesson is on the area of circles. Well, before we get to the formula, let's review some basic parts of a circle. First of all, the outside perimeter of a circle is called circumference. Okay, so the perimeter of the circle is this distance around the outside edge. And the formula for that is in another lesson. You may remember it. It's pi times diameter, but today we're going to focus on area of circles. All right, so the other two parts that we need to know are the diameter and the radius. Diameter is the distance from the outside edge to the outside edge through the center, like this, okay? That's the diameter. It's the distance across the circle, but it has to pass through the center. And then the radius is half of that distance. The formula for the area of a circle is equal to pi times the radius squared. And usually we use for pi the value of 3.14. Okay, so pi is approximately equal to 3.14. That's a rounded off number that we use. So for these area calculations, we will be using 3.14 for pi, even though technically pi is an irrational number and it goes on forever and ever without repeating or terminating. All right, so let's begin. For our first example, we have this circle, and let's calculate the area. Let's start with our formula. Pi times radius squared. What is the radius of this circle? That's right, it's 12. So 12 centimeters. So we'll replace pi, we'll leave it alone. We'll replace r with 12 centimeters. And now we'll follow order of operations, which says we must square the radius first, then multiply by pi. So you remember your perfect squares? How much is 12 squared? That's right, it's 144. So that's 144, and so our units also get squared. 144 square centimeters. Now that's being multiplied by pi. All right, now some answers would just ask you for the answer in terms of pi. If that's the case, then you would write your answer as 144 pi centimeters squared. It's convention that you put the constant first, the 144, and then pi. Because every calculator has a pi button, so if you wanted to know the exact answer, you can go 144 times the pi button, and that would give you your answer, which you then could round off to either the nearest tenth or whole number or whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and let's round off our answer to the nearest tenth. So I want you to take your calculator. I want you to take 144 and then multiply. You can multiply by 3.14. And this will be our approximate answer, and we'll round it off to the nearest tenth. All right, so I just did that on my calculator, and I got the answer 452.16. Now we're going to round that off to the nearest tenth, which is the first decimal place. So we're going to round this up to 2. So 452.2, and it's centimeters squared is our rounded off answer. Okay? So how'd you do on that one? Let's try another one. All right, so here we have another circle. Let's calculate, let's calculate the area. So we have area equals pi times radius squared. Okay, what is the what is the radius of this circle? No, it's not 12. That's the diameter, because that line goes all the way across the circle. No, the radius is going to be 6. So make sure you use 6 in your formula. All right, so area is equal to pi, and then we have 6 centimeters squared. So that's going to equal 36 pi centimeters squared. Now go ahead and multiply 36 times pi, 3.14, and round your answer off to the nearest tenth. Okay, so what'd you get? Well, on my calculator, I had 113.04 centimeters squared. If I round it off to the nearest tenth, that means I'm rounding off to here, so it's going to be 113.0. Now, since it asks us to round to the nearest tenth, we are going to include the 0 in our answer. So 113.0 centimeters squared. Okay? All right, you try this one. Pause your video, then restart to find the final answer. And your final answer should be rounded off to the nearest tenth. Go ahead. Welcome back from pausing the video. The radius of our circle is 10, half the distance, across. So pi times 10 inches squared. So that is going to give us 100 pi square inches, or inches squared. If I take 100 times 3.14, that gives me 314. And that one, we didn't have to round it to the nearest tenth because there was no decimal place given. Or you could say 314.0, I guess. Yeah, okay, that's cool. 314.0 since they asked us for the nearest tenth. All right, so how'd you do? Did you get it right? Okay, try another one. Okay, go ahead and round off to the nearest tenth. Pause your video, restart to find your answer. Welcome back from pausing the video. Our radius this time is equal to 2. Therefore, pi times 2 centimeters to the second power. So area is going to equal 4 pi centimeters squared. Multiply 4 times 3.14. Okay, so that equals 12.56 centimeters squared. Rounding to the nearest tenth, we would round this to 12.6. Okay, how'd you do? Did you get it right? Very good. All right. Okay, here we have a bonus problem. So this bonus problem is going to be worth 2 extra credit points. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, because the assignment's worth 10 points. So if you get 2 extra credit points, that's 20% more added on to the score. So what I want you to do is I want you to find the area of the shaded region. Area of the shaded region. And so this area right here. Okay, and round your answer to the nearest tenth. So when I check your homework, then I want you to show me that answer. And then, you know, this is individual, so you get extra points if you have it right. Okay? All right, well, as always, read some books.